Well, sports fans, it's that time of year again. March Madness is here. Well, it's 2 days away from the opening round games to begin. So I figured let's pick the bracket. Let's go through all 68 matchups and let's get to, well, not 68. However many matchups there are, I don't know the exact number of matchups there will be. But let's go from at each bracket, pick the final four, and get our national champion. I will probably be different than a lot of other people. I just find the idea of picking chalk to be gross and disgusting, even though at times it seems to happen a lot. I just love the madness. I love the excitement. I love the upsets because it's why college basketball is the best. It's a chance for anybody. It's a true idea of what college sports is all about. Doesn't matter what school you go to. If your team is good enough to get into the tournament, you can beat any team on any given day. And that's why the NCAA tournament is the best. And that's why I hope it never changes from where it is. We don't need to expand anymore. Yes, we always have teams that get left out, but we're always going to have teams that get left out. No matter how much you expand, you're always going to have people getting left out. These are the best of the best. Well, maybe not the best of the best. The teams that won their tournaments and got automatic bids, and the teams that played well enough throughout the season and are able to get it. But let's go through the bracket. Enough of the tirade. Let's just pick the bracket. Let's start off in the East. We have first game Uconn Stetson. It's cool to see that Stetson finally got in. They've never been here for the first time, but if there's any one upset that's going to happen, it's not going to be this one. As much as I'd love to see Uconn go down, it's just not going to happen. The next game, FAU Northwestern, very evenly last. Both high scoring both teams are very high scoring. Both have good guards, and it's just FAU brings back most of the team that they had from their magical run last year. Northwestern is Northwestern. Like most 8 to 9 matchups, this is a real coin flip. You could go either way, and more times than not, 8-9 isn't going to beat the one. So it's really a matter of, in terms of point scoring, you lose maybe 1 point in your overall score, so it's not that big of a deal. But I'll go with FAU. I think they have enough magic to win another game this year. Next, we have San Diego at San Diego State and UAB. I don't see San Diego State making it back to the national championship game again. That game last year was a debacle. And I mean, Uconn basically won it going away because of all the upsets that happened. But this time around, I know in my brackets last year, I picked San Diego State to go out right away. And I'm going to do it again this year. UAB looks really strong. They scored a lot. And I just never trust San Diego State, because when I pick them, they burn me, and when I don't, they win. So I will gain on the fact that they will lose. Auburn and Yale. It would have been cool to see Brown make it from the Ivy League, but Yale's a smart team. Auburn is a high-scoring team. It should be a tough matchup for Auburn, but I don't know, Auburn's been pretty consistent all year. They've had their fair share of losses, but they've just really been a consistent team. Bruce Pearl keeps that team steady, keeps that team going, and I think they're just a solid team. They've been like that all year, so no upset there. Oh, BYU. I don't know a lot about BYU. Duquesne, it's cool to see their story. First time making the tournament since 1977, so I'm all about teams that haven't been in the tournament for a long time making the tournament. This is their chance. It could be their first chance for a while, seeing as though how often are you going to see all top teams in the Atlantic 10 lose in their first games? It was like unheard of. It's like unheard of that something like that would happen. But I will go with Duquesne begrudgingly. I don't know enough about BYU, and if there's one upset I'd like to see happen, is just Duquesne, just so they can have a little more magic go on. Illinois and Morehead State. I'm going to pick Illinois. I hate Illinois so much as a Badgers fan, especially after the game today. I think the Badgers kind of got screwed out on some calls a couple in this game, but Morehead State is a great team. Got one of the best players in the country. It's just, man, I know Illinois doesn't play well at times, but they can just turn it on. I mean, as seen the last 3 games, they've went down double digits in the last 3 games, and all of a sudden, just flip the switch. Just flip the switch. It makes absolutely no sense that they were able to do that, and it's just very frustrating to watch them play. I can't go against them right now. Drake, I like Drake. Drake played really well in their tournament. Washington State, it's just one of those teams that I never have a lot of faith in whenever they get here. But I'll go with Drake since I've seen them the most, to be honest. Iowa State put a whipping on Houston, and it probably should have been a 1. No, a lot of people probably disagree with that, but they've been so good all year long. Sure, they've taken their lumps, but let's be honest. I think Iowa State is a better team than Purdue. Iowa State has a better chance to go further in the tournament than Purdue does. It's just straight up facts. Although that 2-3 matchup in the Sweet 16 could be really interesting. Let's just pick all the brackets at once. Each bracket one. FAU, the Magic won't continue. As much as I want Uconn to win or lose, I cannot pick against them. UIB, their Magic will run out in the round of 32. Auburn wins. Uconn, Auburn, going to be a great matchup for sure. Duquesne and Illinois. This bracket ended up being pretty chalky. It's just not a lot of these teams that I think could go far. It's just because Illinois is stacked. Iowa State is stacked. Auburn has been nothing but consistent. And Uconn is clearly probably the best team in the league, even though I don't think they're as good as people say they are. They just keep finding ways to win. Danny Hurley is a good coach, and he's got the team rip-roaring ready to go. Now we get to who's going to make the Elite Eight. Man. Uconn. But that game's going to be high scoring. That game is going to be high scoring as well. I just think Uconn they'll end up having more of the horses, and Illinois. I just think with the way Iowa State is able to score, they're a good defensive team as well. It's just, I think their magic for Illinois is going to run out. At some point, Illinois is going to run into a team that they can't dig a hole out of. They can't dig their way out of, and that's the game. And here's the shocker of all shockers: Iowa State to the Sweet 16, to the Final Four. How many times has a national championship gone back to back? It's like only a handful of times in the history of the tournament. And even then, I'm kind of skeptical on how many times. I just don't see it happening again. Not this year. Not with this Uconn team. Because Iowa State has been pretty good all year long. Let's go to the West. North Carolina. North Carolina's been consistent all year long. Sure, they've had their fair share of bad losses, and they had that loss in the tournament just a couple days ago, and that was pretty bad, but they're looking good. And of course, I should pick Mississippi State because they're the better team overall, but the NCAA is not going to let this happen. They picked this matchup for everybody to see. Michigan State, North Carolina. I don't think Michigan State belongs in this tournament. I think they got a way too high of a seed, and frankly, I think they should be out. But you know how things are. Only a few teams have the longest streaks in tournament history, or the longest streaks going on. And of course, Michigan State's still going to get in. They still got in. St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. I believe St. Mary's lost last year in this game as well. Grand Canyon, I've heard really good things about. Man, I don't. My problem sometimes I pick too many 12s, and then we only have maybe one win. I just think I'm going to go with St. Mary's. They're a good team overall, although Grand Canyon does have a couple of really good players as well. Alabama, like the highest scoring team in the country. I don't see any reason why Alabama should lose that game, but, Alabama has been beaten before. I mean, Alabama was supposed to go all the way last year, and look what happened. A couple of players murdered some people, and it was kind of tossed under the rug, and no one talked about it, and just like, hush, hush, oh no, don't worry, it's not a big deal. Our best player didn't murder anybody. Uh, New Mexico or Clemson? Clemson has been good. They've been kind of up and down most of the year. Clemson is looking, or New Mexico is looking strong with Richard Pitino. I will go with the upset. Baylor Colgate. Baylor is a great team. Even though at times they have been very frustrating to pick because they just, every time you think they're going to win it all, well, they did win it all a couple years ago. But I think they'll win again and setting up a pretty big matchup with New Mexico and Baylor. Next we have Dayton and Nevada. Dayton solidly in despite losing their first game. Nevada, the attorney committee didn't put a lot of stock in Mountain West teams this year, and I'm not going to put a lot of stock in them this year. So I'm going to put Dayton. Arizona, it's funny, the funny story about Long Beach State, they had a separation with their coach, or they went their separate ways, and then they just kept winning and ended up winning their tournament and making it in. I don't see them beating Arizona, even though I think Arizona is a very beatable team this year. They always are. Every year, Arizona looks like, oh, this is the year. This is the year Arizona's going to get back to the national championship game, or at least get to the Final Four. And they don't do it. But I don't see Dayton beating them. Arizona, strong offensive team. Man, I picked chalk a lot so far. But I'm not going to get burned like I have in the past. Baylor, Arizona, man, that's going to be a tough game to pick. St. Mary's and Alabama. See any reason why Alabama wouldn't win, but you know what? St. Mary's. I think they've been a really strong team for most of the year. And Alabama is a high-scoring team, but they can be beat. North Carolina, of course, North Carolina is going to be there. North Carolina, St. Mary's. St. Mary's match probably ends there. North Carolina gets there. I'm going to go, I think Baylor can get there, but I think Baylor's not going to be able to beat North Carolina. And North Carolina is in the Final Four once again. They were a couple years ago. I don't see them winning it all necessarily, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The Midwest, Purdue. As much as I would love to see the 16 seed beat Purdue once again, I don't see it happening 2 years in a row. That would just be too crazy, even for the most high of outlooks for upsets in the league. I just don't see that happening. Utah State and TCU. Utah State coming back this year with a whole new team, and sure enough, they make it again. TCU is a high-scoring game, most wins they've had in their time in the Big 12. Again, another 8-9 seed, another toss-up. I will go with Utah State. I don't know how confident I feel about that pick, though. Gonzaga and McNeese State. This probably should be the year where Gonzaga is able to go far. I mean, they're finally not in the top two or three seeds in the tournament, so maybe they can get back to Cinderella status and not have so much expectation. But I see Gonzaga losing because McNeese is one of the few 31 teams, have a couple of really good players, can really score, and I just see it happening. Just not a lot of faith in Gonzaga. I never have. Even when they go far, it's just still like I just can't trust them just because of their tournament play. I just don't think they're as good as St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a better team overall, and that's why St. Mary's beat them a bunch of times. Neither here nor there. Man, Kansas is so injured, but I just can't see him losing in the first round. I can't. 12-13 matchup, my God. Watch, I'll pick Kansas. Kansas will lose. McNeese State will will lose, and I'll get that matchup completely wrong. Watch, that's what'll happen. I know it probably will. Oregon looking strong, being the last team to win the Pac-12 tournament. It's sad to see the Pac-12 go, but they made their poor decisions and just let their members just leave. But Oregon looks strong every time. Tournament time, Oregon is just a strong out. And South Carolina has been good for most of the year. I just think this is a high spot. If you're going to pick an upset in the tournament, the 11-6 seed has the highest probability, almost or close to nearly 50%. So it's a good, well, I don't think it's nearly 50%. It's around 45%, I believe, based on what I saw today in the tournament show. Oregon wins that one. Creighton's just a slow-moving team, but they've been strong all year. As much as I'd like to see Akron continue on, I just don't see it happening. Texas versus UVA. I think one of these teams could actually be Texas. Texas hasn't been very strong this year. They haven't been very consistent. I should go with it's a good thing you don't have to. Oh shit! I don't want that. My God, I'm not that crazy. Tennessee, yeah, Tennessee. No, man. UVA has really not been good this year, and Colorado State is up and down as well. I can't see him beating Texas. We have a revenge game. Rick Barnes playing against his former team that he coached. Tennessee, they have one of the best players in the country, Dalton Knecht, I believe that's how you say his name, and I think he looks strong. Even though Tennessee usually burns me most years, I just don't see him losing to Texas. Texas just not that strong this year. Creighton. That is going to be one of the best tournament matchups of the year if it happens. Man. And here is where it gets really, really hard. Purdue should win. But I got burned with Purdue last year. I think Purdue got a little better than last year, but I just don't see them going this far. But based on how I picked it, I just Kansas over McNeese. I don't see 12C going that far, but we'll go with man. Yeah. Man, that's... Yeah. We'll go with Kansas beating Purdue. I think Kansas will be somewhat rested. Yes, who knows if Hunter Dickinson actually plays. I just think they're still a good team. And I don't trust Purdue. I don't trust Purdue at all. You can make fun of me in the comments below. I don't trust Purdue at all. Especially after the Badgers were able to beat them the other day with 3 of their best players fouling out. They still were able to beat them because Zach Edey is all they have. And if you can stop Zach Edey, they have good scores behind them, but consistent ones, not likely. Man, Creighton, Tennessee, that's a big matchup. Creighton. Man, I want to pick... Yeah, I think this is the year. I don't think Kansas Magic will go that far. I think Tennessee will get there. We got 2 2s and 1 so far. But I have some matchups that are set up. Yes, it's kind of chalky so far. I do have my fair share of upsets. It's hard to really consistently pick 12s to go all the way to the Sweet 16 or 13s or 14s. we have our last bracket. We have Houston along with Houston, even though they got absolutely gobsmacked by Iowa State. They are still injured. They are injured to hell and back. So who knows how far they'll be able to get. Nebraska and Texas A&M are a match of two very high-scoring teams. Whoever wins that game will have to be ready for Houston. Houston can be beat. You just have to have the 3-point shooter shoot it. Both teams should have that. Nebraska is just inconsistent. I think Texas A&M has been so hot, I can't pick Nebraska. Oh, here's a homer pick. But I love in the analysis of the tournament every year, whenever Wisconsin comes up, it's like, oh, Wisconsin, they're going to get beat. They're going to get beat every year. It's always, well, Wisconsin, oh, James Madison. James Madison is a good team. And they very well could beat Wisconsin. I cannot pick against my Badgers right now, but it'll be a very good game. Duke should beat Vermont, but this is Vermont's third year in a row in the tournament, so maybe that they have some magic ready to go. Texas Tech, NC State. NC State is probably going to be so emotionally drained. I'm going to pick Texas Tech just because who knows how much NC State has left after winning 5 games in a row to win their tournament. They wouldn't have been in the spot, and their coach, Kevin Keatts, probably would have been fired as well had they not won their tournament. But now, looks like they'll probably be around for a while again. Kentucky should beat Uconn. Again, another Mountain West team here in 10 against Colorado. Florida did lose one of their best rebounders today to a leg fracture of some sort, so that's going to be tough, but I like Florida to win still. I need to stop being chalk. I need to pick something different. Marquette, Western Kentucky. Marquette should win. Hopefully, and if Tyler Koch is able to win, they should be able to take Marquette pretty far. We'll go to Houston and Texas A&M, a battle, another Big 12 battle. Man. Houston. Man, I don't want to pick them to go that far, but how far can Texas A&M's magic take them? That's the question. Wisconsin over Duke. Duke should win that game, but they haven't played very well, and Wisconsin is peaking at the right time, so I would pick Wisconsin to go to Sweet 16. You can laugh at me, call me for being a homer. I just think Wisconsin has been playing very well, and they could very well lose that game to James Madison. I'm very well aware of that, but I think they'll make it. Marquette, yep. Should beat that team, whoever it is. Kentucky should beat Texas Tech. Kentucky, yes. Houston. And Houston, Kentucky is going to be a wild matchup. I just think Kentucky, yes, they lost, but they've been a pretty solid team for most of the year. They just finally got most of their team together in March after all their injuries all year. Houston is a very injured team. I think their magic ends against Kentucky. Look at that. Final 4. Kentucky and Tennessee is probably not the most likely matchup in the world. Iowa State versus North Carolina. And let's see who makes it to the championship game. My God, this is not a good bracket. I did not pick a good bracket, I don't think. But just... Man, Iowa State has been playing so well. So is North Carolina for most of the year. Man. Let's look at the Midwest again just a little bit. Let's see if there's any... No. We're going to stick with that. 2 and a 3. and Kentucky is your champion. Maybe I'll make another bracket in a couple of days. If you like the video here and think I should make another one, I think I should improve it, because it's very well could be a very terrible bracket and turn out very awfully, but that's just how I see it so far. Total game score, it's about 137. So we have there as your bracket. No. But yeah, we have Kentucky as my champion. Probably not going to go down that way, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this. This is a very impromptu video. I just feel like it's just one of those things that YouTubers do, is they all pick their brackets, laugh at each other when they're wrong, but congratulate each other when you get something right. But those are my picks. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have a great day, and